Today might feel a little bit different. I moved rooms, same house, same lovely people, except sadly, Malinka and Anne have moved back to Denmark. So that means I am filming all alone for really the first time, besides like just trying to figure out my gear before. So this is gonna, I don't know, it might feel different, it might not, but just a heads up that if it does feel different, it's because I'm filming alone, and let me know how you feel about it, if you like it, if you don't like it, because I would love to get a filming partner again, but just gotta figure it out. But if you like it better like this, maybe this is better, who knows. All right, I'm gonna start. Hello my beautiful budding sommeliers, I'm Steffi and welcome back to Steffi's Wine Club. Today we are going to be continuing our varietal mini-series and talking about Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is originally a French grape. It is most famously grown in the Burgundy and Champagne regions in France, and Pinot Noir actually comes from the French words for old pine. So as you can see, this is a black grape, so a red grape, and it is usually used to make red wines, although sometimes it is used without the coloring to make champagne or with the coloring to make rosé champagne. We do see rosés made out of it from time to time or in the blends, but most people drink Pinot Noir as a red wine. This grape is kind of known as the tortured artist of the grape community. I guess if all the varietals were in a little community, had like a type, like a meme, this one would be the tortured artist meme, like very like pondering, very sensitive, creates brilliant work, but only under the best conditions. Pinot Noir is a lot like that. You can create fantastic wines. But the grapes are very sensitive as they're growing as well as they're aging. The aging process can be very uneven and unpredictable. So not only are the people growing the grapes need to be very attentive, but the people making the wines need to be very attentive. And then the people who purchase the wines need to also be attentive to how long they're storing them. Pinot Noirs do not store for as long as other reds that we see, such as Bordeaux blends or Cabernet Sauv. These grapes also grow best in chalky and clay soils, so the terroir does make a huge difference for Pinot Noir. And unlike other grapes, which will kind of grow and just not be as good in other terroirs that aren't ideal or just taste different in different terroirs, Pinot Noir is very specific. It is very hard to grow Pinot Noir and get good wine if the conditions aren't very precise. So the common characteristics of this wine is quite a dry red wine, quite light to medium bodied. You can see the coloration isn't super intense. It's kind of like a light to medium ruby. The tannins are also quite low. The alcohol tends to be lower for a red wine, more along the 11.5 to 13.5 lines, so again, not as high as we see in some of those bolder reds. When it's grown in a cooler climate, we get a lot more floral and earthy notes, and then when it's grown in a warmer climate, still not hot, but just warmer, not quite so cool, we tend to see more red fruit flavors and spice flavors. This grape also provides wines that usually have quite medium to high acidity, so this makes them pair quite well with a lot of food. This Pinot Noir is pretty interesting. I got it from Chile, and yes, Chile does get quite warm in a lot of the areas, but this area of Chile is a little bit cooler. It's called the Casablanca Valley. Here's the wine bottle, so it's quite a beautiful little wine bottle. It also received a score of 91 from James Suckling, which is very impressive for a Pinot Noir to Chile. It's not something I would have expected, but I am enjoying it quite a lot. It's lighter bodied for me. It has medium acidity. I do get some of those more like vegetal and earthy notes, but also some warm vanilla at the end, which is pretty characteristic of a Pinot Noir. And I do get the red fruit flavors, like a little bit of raspberry, a little strawberry, a little cherry. It's quite delicious. This is actually light enough that I could totally drink it on its own. I didn't necessarily need to pair it with any food, but I think it would pair quite nicely with maybe a pasta. I got this Monte 2016 Pinot Noir from the LCBO, where it was described as medium-bodied and fruity, which I pretty much agree with. I think it's a little more light to medium, but they don't go into that detail at the LCBO little like flags on the wine, so that's totally fine. Medium and fruity, I would say this definitely falls under that. And it is a bit higher in alcohol. It's 14%, and I'm gonna venture a guess that that is from being in a warmer climate. The grapes got riper, a little more jammy, a little more sugar in them from the riper grapes, which when it is fermented with the yeast, does produce more alcohol usually, so I'm guessing that is why, being from Chile. And it was a steal at $14.95, so this is actually a great wine if you're gonna have like a little dinner party. You know, there's gonna be some food, but people might want drinks like just casually, and you need to bring something. Like, this is a nice bottle of wine that's very affordable, especially for students like me. I do try to keep my wines on like the lower end of like wine in general, but wine in general can get so expensive if you get really into it. So yes, sometimes I do have to splurge a little bit more on something like an Amarone to show you guys, but for this series, I'm going to try to keep it pretty minimal on the expenses, but still nice bottles of wine. So that's what I tried to do with this. And one of the best ways that you can get a value for a nice bottle of wine is do some research, find out sort of an area in an unexpected place to grow the grape and see if they're succeeding and what people are saying about it. You can also check Vivino. You just take a picture of the label and it shows you like other people's ratings on it. So sometimes I do that while I'm in the store if I just need to get an idea of whether people liked it or hated it. But of course, wine is a personal thing. I might like this and you might hate it. So all I can recommend is that you go out, try it for yourself, become familiar with the flavors of Pinot Noir, and continue your wine exploration. Alright folks, that is all for me. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about Pinot Noir with me in this varietal mini-series. And as my Yiddish colleagues would say, sei gesund.